Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Shelly, and this is There's No Place Like Home. Today I wanted to talk to you about something that I think more and more people are waking up to, but there are still a lot of people who don't even understand that it's happening. And it's this: you are being programmed. It's nothing new. So the other day I was driving my daughter and son to their dentist appointment, and we drove past an elementary school, and it had one of those little boards out front with the letters that you put messages in for your students. And on the board it said, "By standing apart, we stand together." And I immediately thought to myself, oh my gosh, these kids who go back to school are going to be programmed out the wazoo. And I think that we've already seen this from all the little preview videos we've been getting from schools about what things are going to be like there. And you know, it's something that I don't think a lot of people realize is even happening. Yes, you are being programmed. It is called neuro-linguistic programming. And what it is doing, it is having you see things in repetition or hear things in repetition so much that you begin to actually have an emotional response to them, the response that they want you to have. So, for example, when you hear safer at home, you immediately start thinking, I had better not go out there and kill grandma. I had better stay in my house. Or if you keep hearing, practice social distancing, it's telling you that if you don't go close to your fellow man, you are keeping them safe. When in fact, social distancing has nothing to do with being social. We need to point that out. It is physical distancing. It is keeping you apart from your fellow man. Then we have stay safe, and that's just another one of those renditions of safer at home. And I actually see a lot of those from the hospital around my house. It says like St. Luke's, and then it says stay home, like everywhere. So yeah, that one was stay home, and I was talking about stay safe. Still, same thing. Stay home. They're telling you that everywhere. And you know, I'm hearing, I don't even have cable, but we do have Tubi because it's free and you can watch movies on it. And even the ads on there, it's telling you to stay home, and that every time you leave your house, you're putting someone else at risk. And as I'm watching these ads, I'm thinking, how am I putting someone else at risk by leaving my house if I'm not even sick? They are operating under the assumption that everyone is sick and that they just don't know it. And they want you to think the same thing, not only about yourself so that you don't leave your house, but so that you have negative feelings towards people who do. And then you have, of course, the one that is sort of like the sign at the school, we're all in this together. And who do you hear saying that the most often? We're all in this together. I'm seeing a lot of celebrities say that. We are all in this together, as they sit in their bubble baths with all of their, luxurious amenities surrounding them, as they're in their mansions surrounded by their guards. We're not all in this together. And that's just another thing that I think that people need to realize. These celebrities they're basically being used as a tool of the neuro-linguistic programming. And this isn't something that's new. It's not something that has just popped out all of a sudden during this pandemic. We have been programmed for years, decades. It could even be longer than that. I don't know. But think about it. Through commercials, you are being programmed to buy certain things, to wear certain clothes. You're being programmed to watch certain things on TV or movies. You're even being programmed about what to believe. And this has been going on for years and years and years. And that's the whole object of advertising, is the neuro-linguistic programming, to get the consumer to do what they want you to do. But now, this new form of neuro-linguistic programming that we're going through with the pandemic, it has far more evil intentions, because this neuro-linguistic programming is to tame us as they take away our rights. So they're telling you all of these things, and they're calming you down. You're safer at home. We're all in this together. All of these really feel-good messages. They're doing this to keep you tame, so that you don't even realize that your rights are being pulled out from underneath you. And then on top of that, this programming is making us, as I mentioned before, fearful and distrustful of one another. And we as human beings, we need our fellow man. We need the relationships. And if they keep us apart, it is so much easier for them to control us, which is exactly what they've been doing this whole time. So Another thing that popped into my mind as I saw that sign on the school was Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. If you've never read it before, you have to read it. The first time that I read it was a couple of years ago, and I thought it was a little scary because I saw some potential for things that could be happening. And now I'm reading it again and I see the things are happening. And so while I could do a video series on the whole book and how it is almost a mirror to what is going on in society now, I'm just going to stick to this neurolinguistic programming. So Brave New World is basically, just like as a quick summary, it's just about how in the future there is this utopian society where there is no more family, and children are raised, and they're actually like, women don't even give birth anymore. I believe that they're just kind of like made on like an assembly line, and family is a taboo word, mother and father are taboo words, and everything, they're just brought up scientifically. And so since there is no more family, there is no more family unit, there's no more sibling bonds, none of that is going on, and they are actually programmed in their minds and what they are to think also. And so I want you to know that this book was written in 1932. And that is actually going to be important to remember, that this was written in 1932, because as I am reading this to you, yes, I'm going to read you a little bit of it. I want you to take notice to the stark, or actually to the fantastic comparison that it has to what is going on in society today, and the way that they are using language, they are using signs, they are using ads, they are using all of these different things to make us react, and they're doing it because they want us to do exactly what they want us to do. They have a set outcome that they're hoping for. So let's read this. Whereas if they'd only, now I should say that they are actually in a room right now, and they're showing a bunch of children who are sleeping. And as they are sleeping, they have like little headphones on, or maybe under their pillow, and it is telling them, it is talking to them in loops while they're sleeping. Okay, so that's what these students are going in, and they're observing the children who are basically being hypnotized into what to believe while they're sleeping. So let's hear this. If they'd only started on moral education, said the director, leading the way towards the door. The students followed him, desperately scribbling as they walked, and all the way up in the lift. Moral education, which ought never in any circumstances to be rational. Did you hear that? 1932. Moral education, which ought never in any circumstances to be rational. That's what they're saying in this utopian world. That's what they're saying now. Let's move on. They stepped over the threshold into the twilight of a shuttered dormitory. 80 cots stood in a row against the wall. There was a sound of light, regular breathing and a continuous murmur as of very faint voices remotely whispering. A nurse rose as they entered and came to attention before the director. "What's the lesson this afternoon?" he asked. "We had elementary sex for the first 40 minutes. Does that remind you of 2020? She answered, "But it's switched over to elementary class consciousness." Does that remind you of 2020? The director walked slowly down the long line of cots. Rosy and relaxed with sleep, 80 little boys and girls lay softly breathing. There was a whisper under every pillow. The DHC halted and, bending over one of the little beds, listened attentively. "Elementary class consciousness, did you say? Let's have it repeated a little louder by the trumpet." At the end of the room, a loudspeaker projected from the wall. The director walked up to it and pressed a switch. So he was pressing a switch so that he would hear what the children were hearing as they were sleeping. This is what they were hearing. "All wear green," said a soft but very distinct voice, beginning in the middle of a sentence. "And Delta children wear khaki. Oh no, I don't want to play with Delta children. And Epsilons are still worse. They're too stupid to be able to read or write. Besides, they wear black, which is such a beastly color. I'm so glad I'm a Beta." There was a pause. Then the voice began again. "Alpha children wear gray. They work much harder than we do because they're so frightfully clever. I'm really awfully glad I'm a Beta because I don't work so hard. And then we are much better than the Gammas and Deltas. Gammas are stupid. They all wear green. And Delta children wear khakis. Oh no, I don't want to play with Delta children. And Epsilons are still worse. They're too stupid to be able..." As you notice, they're hearing the same thing on a loop. Just like this safer at home, practice social distancing. We're all in this together. The director pushed back the switch. The voice was silent. Only its thin ghost continued to mutter from beneath the 80 pillows. They'll have that repeated 40 or 50 times more before they wake, then again on Thursday and again on Saturday, 120 times, 3 times a week for 30 months, after which they go on to a more advanced lesson. Roses and electric shocks, the khaki of deltas, and a whiff of asafoetida, I don't know how to say that, wetted indissolubly before the child can speak. But wordless conditioning is crude and wholesale, cannot bring home the finer distinctions, cannot inculcate the more complex courses of behavior. For that there must be words, but words without reason. You hear that? Words without reason. We were just going through how all of these things that they are saying to us, there is no reason behind them. There is nothing social about social distancing. There is nothing bad about leaving your house. You are not putting people's lives in danger if you don't stay home. There is no reason behind what they're saying. Say that again. For that, there must be words, but words without reason. In brief, Hypnopaedia. That's what they call it, Hypnopaedia, the great moralizing and socializing force of all time. 1932, folks. They knew about this neurolinguistic programming, this Hypnopaedia, even though we might not be hearing it in our sleep. Look at it. You're half asleep half the time as you're watching the TV. And when you are seeing these things over and over and over, even on construction street signs, if you have a road that has construction on it and they have those digital signs, how many times have you not seen that they have said, stay home, stay safe, practice social distancing? Everywhere that you look, on billboards, commercials, everywhere that you turn, and now on these signs outside of schools where, yes, children are going to be inundated with this all day long, over and over again on a loop. But don't think that you're safe just because you're not a child. It is happening to you right now. It has been happening to you for a long time, and it's time to wake up and fight back. That's all that I have for you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one over on Instagram because YouTube disabled my comments. I wonder why. If you like my work and would like to check out my Patreon page, I will leave a link in the description box for that as well. And I hope you have a great day.